I'm Joe Chile. You can listen to me mornings on The Big Weck. Joining us today on The Big Weck, Buffalo on the Rise, is Elizabeth Carey, who's the Public Relations Director for AAA of Western New York. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me. Happy to be here.
Glad to have you here. Now, you do a show on WECK, also on Saturdays, right?
Yeah, it's called Talking AAA. It airs every Saturday morning. It's Brian Murray and myself. We host the program. It's all things AAA, but a lot of the focus is on travel because, of course, that's so much fun.
Okay, now why do we never see Brian, anyplace else? I mean, I know he exists. I think I had him on a show before, but he's just like he's invisible compared to you.
Well, he's always traveling around, but of course, with me being the spokesperson for AAA, I'm on TV a lot, so people say, I still see you on TV all the time. Since I used to be a TV reporter, they're like, wait, now what's for? I go, AAA? They're like, yeah, that's it.
Well, I just tell people it's because you're the better looking portion of the duo, right? So we have a AAA trip with WECK that's going on. And you have a trip that just took place. Where'd you go, Bermuda? Yeah,
we took a cruise to Bermuda in 2023. So that was really cool. Unfortunately, you can't control the weather. It did rain a little bit, but we had a great time. That sailed out of New York Harbor.
Now, the next trip in September, right?
Yes, September 22nd. So this one is going to be a cruise out of Boston. What's neat about it, it's a no-fly cruise, so it includes all your transportation to get to Boston. It's motor coach transportation. They'll pick you up in Buffalo, Rochester, or Syracuse. We get to Boston. We board the Jewel of the Seas with Royal Caribbean. It's a great ship for a week-long cruise.
Is that a big thing with people, a no-fly cruise?
A lot of people like to do that because then you don't have to worry about going through TSA and how many liquids I can bring and my shampoo and everything else. It avoids the whole process of possibly missing a flight or having to stay a day early in a hotel just to make sure you're there in advance. So people do enjoy these no-fly cruises.
Is the trip geared toward any kind of a special group?
No, it's really open to anyone. You want to make sure that you have the ability to board the cruise ship on your own and take part in a lot of the activities because we're going to be visiting a lot of different ports of call where you can see like small little fishing villages. This is going to go to Canada and New England. We're going to have some lobster by the harbor, is how I like to say it.
Lobster by the harbor.
Right.
I think this is interesting. So you can tell us the secret. Now, cruises are known for their food. How do you stay thin being on cruises all the time? It seems like you're on cruises all the time.
Well, I wish I was on cruises all the time, but I guess you just have to make the healthy choices, but it's so easy to indulge. They will feed you 24/7 on these cruise ships.
Will they really?
Yeah.
I mean, you can get food all the time.
That's one of the things that people love about cruising. It's like associated with all this food and all this entertainment. So all that's included. So it's great. We're seeing cruise trends really on the rise, especially cruises. For example, last spring break, a lot of people went on cruises down south, the Caribbean, out of South Florida. But we're seeing people cruising really around the globe. But this cruise is going to be really cool because it's September. It's going to be beautiful fall foliage, great temperatures, and we're going to visit some really cool ports of call. We're going to go to Halifax, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Canada, and Portland, Maine. So a lot of cool things to see there.
On my bucket list, I've always wanted to see the Northern Lights. Never got to see the Northern Lights. Have you seen them?
No, I have not. But we see a lot of people going to Iceland and to Alaska to try and see them that way.
My mom, rest her soul, she was always one that would say she wanted to go on a cruise to Alaska. She had friends of hers that went and said it was the most incredible thing they'd ever seen in their lives.
It is on my bucket list, so I'm talking about it. It's the limited season. They only go in the summertime. So when you think about during the pandemic, cruising didn't take place. All these Alaskan ports of call, these small towns that rely on tourists, were like, where are all of our visitors? And so they welcomed everyone back with open arms when that returned. And we saw a lot of people say, I got to get this crossed off my bucket list, and I'm going to go.
What makes cruising so enjoyable?
Well, aside from all the food, you get to visit multiple ports of call all in one trip. So you only pack once, and you're going to go to these different places. Then meanwhile, while you're on the ship, there's so many different activities to choose from. You want to go to the casino, you want to go to the spa, you just want to sit by the pool, you want to see entertainment. There's something for everyone.
Give me an idea, since I've never been on a cruise ship, of the size. Can you describe that to us?
The only way I describe it to people is people say, no, I can't do that. I can't be in a confined space. It's not a confined space whatsoever. It's unbelievable. The way I put it is like, it's like the Galleria on water, but it's even bigger than the Galleria. It's like that big. You feel like you're in like a humongous mall, like you don't feel confined there. And there's all these outdoor spaces as well. So these mega ships are really popular these days. Like we saw Royal Caribbean unveil its Icon of the Seas at the start of the year. It's dwarfing other ships in the ports when you see how big it is, and people are saying we want to go experience that.
And it's different levels as well, right?
Yeah, because you can get an inside cabin much cheaper than you could get, say, a balcony or a suite. So that's up to each individual's preference of what they'd like to stay in.
Do you really feel the motion? Do you feel the waves, or if there's any kind of a storm at sea, do you feel it, or does it absorb most of that?
Well, they have really advanced technology now on these ships, like a stabilizers is the word, not stimulator, stabilizer, to make sure the ship is stabilized. Some people who are fearful of being sick put the little patch behind their ear, some wear a bracelet to keep control of their equilibrium. I've never gotten seasick, and the cruise ship does take all this into consideration. If they see a storm, they'll go around it. So for instance, when we sailed to Bermuda last year, we stayed in the port of New York and didn't leave because of a storm out at sea, so they could go around that.
Well, that's great. And where are the most popular places to go right now?
Well, Canada and New England in September is going to be #1 for sure. But really, whenever we have any type of a holiday, summer vacation, whatever it might be, Orlando is always #1. Florida is always really popular. But what we're seeing this year is a lot of people traveling internationally. People are saying we'll take any excuse to say this is going to be part of our trip, and they're traveling the globe.
Do you get a lot of repeat business?
Oh yeah, especially with the cruisers. Once people go on a cruise and they enjoy it, they'll book more and more cruises in the future, so that's for sure.
And if they want more information, where do they go?
Oh, you can just go to AAA.com, that's AAA.com. The trip for WEC is actually AAA.com/groups. It'll take you to all the group travel opportunities.
All right, Elizabeth, thank you very much.
Thanks so much for having me.
For more information and answers to your questions, contact AAA of Western and Central New York by calling 1-800-AAA-HELP or go to AAA.com/groups. Sponsorship and promotional consideration for the preceding segment was provided by the following.